Part 2, turning webinar attendance into products. Now, if the question is what you can do with the products that you already have on your hard drive right now, the most sensible thing to do is to maximize your time. Everything that you're doing in internet marketing, you want to make sure that you're getting the maximum return on that time and how you spend it. So this turning webinars into products is a related strategy that you will look at some of the webinars that you have already attended and that you are attending on a regular basis. Now, when you go to a webinar, what you have to understand is that any good webinar that's converting for the vendor, the content in that sales process is really designed to be true. So you don't have to worry about whether or not it's trying to trick you or to fool you. It really tends to be true because people want you to go ahead and take the next step and buy because what's being presented on that webinar is actually true. What typically happens on a webinar is that it's the how that you typically have to buy or how you speed it up. So in other words, everything that you're hearing on the webinar, you're probably noticing that, yeah, it rings true, it resonates with you. And then you tend to have to, if you want to go further and you want to know actually how to do it or you want to get tools to do it, you would have to go ahead and make the purchase of what's being offered. So it's important to note that you are going to be upfront about the idea when you turn this content that you're getting into a product. You're going to be upfront about where it came from. So you don't have to worry about plagiarizing. You don't have to worry about using somebody else's idea and getting in trouble with it. When you actually put these ideas into your products, you are going to be talking about the fact that this is something that you learned on a webinar from this person. Now, you are also, though, going to make sure that you are adding a unique twist and your own results. The other thing you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to take some of this content and you're going to be able to add it into some of the private label rights products that you're purchasing in order to make them unique. So you're really creating a unique product by, number one, getting your own results, number two, adding your own unique twist to what you're actually doing and learning on the webinar. So now the question then is, how do you get started turning webinar attendance into your own unique products? Now, instead of trying to find the right product idea, you want to start looking at really popular webinars. So if you don't have a niche, you don't have a product that you're creating, you want to start looking at the webinars that everyone's attending and that everyone's talking about. Probably the ones that you're getting in your email box, probably the ones that you're being targeted by on Facebook, the ones that are appearing in your news feed or on your YouTube channel. You want to make sure that you start attending some of those webinars, and when you attend it, you're going to make sure that you're taking great notes. Now, you want to look especially over the webinars you personally attended over the last month. That's a good indication that they interested you. Something about them caught your attention. Something about them made you want to attend them. Look at those webinars, and if you can, get the recording to really take a serious look at what was taught on that webinar. Start asking yourself, which ones were the best webinars? Which ones attracted you? Which ideas or which problems really brought you to the point where you felt like you had to attend that webinar? Which one of those webinars solved a real problem? Which one of those webinars had a problem that other marketers had that you talked to? See, this is important because this is going to be the kind of product with appeal for other people. When you start launching products that are like this, these are going to be ones that, at the very least, people are going to be interested in the subject matter. Of course, you're going to have to make sure that your sales copy converts. You're going to make sure you have to deliver on what you promise. But if people are already interested in the concept, they're already interested in solving the problem, you've got a good insight on what people are going to be willing to buy. Now, how did the entrepreneur or marketer solve the problem? What is it that they did in order to help the people who are on that webinar actually get to the point where they can overcome whatever is being discussed on that webinar? What did they do? Did they offer a piece of software? Was it something that they automated? Was it some kind of instruction that they were giving that helped the entrepreneur solve the problem? And so what you want to start thinking about is, what are the alternatives to solving the problem? So if they offered software, is there an alternative to being able to do that? Is there a way to manually do it, but to do it faster than the way that they explained it on the webinar with the instruction that they gave or that they introduced? Is there an alternative to being able to do it that way? This is important because, again, this is going to be how you're going to twist that concept that you learned on a webinar in order to offer your own unique solution to a problem that's already been proven to be one that people are interested in solving. Now, what are the downsides to solving the problem their way? In other words, they're going to have a certain way that they're going to be able to do it, but what is the downside? What could possibly go wrong if they solve the problem their way? Because that's going to be an opening for you to solve the problem your way. And of course, lastly, when you start thinking about how you're going to bring something unique to the marketplace, who else knows how to solve the problem? Because if you can bring experts to solve that problem in another way, if you can bring a group of them and you can bring them together to focus on that problem, it may not necessarily be the whole of your solution, but it is a way or a start for you, again, to be able to offer something unique that the marketplace does not have about something that they are interested in. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Part 3, the 7P method for creating products. Now we're going to be applying the 7P method to your existing purchases. So we're talking about the same subject, which is how to monetize all of your existing internet marketing purchases that you have on your hard drive. Now the method is a variation of one that was discussed at a recent JVZoo conference. And one of the presenters there actually came up with a way that you can actually create a product and get in front of people, as well as to get attraction from affiliates. And so what this is going to require, and we're going to be talking about the 7 Ps, and I'm going to introduce them to you now, is practice, personalize, profit, proof, plug, product and persuade, and promotion. And we're going to get into individually what these things mean. We're going to do this in 2 parts, and we're going to talk about the first 4 right now. Now, let's talk about what it means to practice. You should really be able to use what it is that you have. So one of the ways that we're going to turn one of these products that we have is to be able to actually use it, to become an expert, to become good at using it for the purpose that it was actually intended for. And of course, as always, your goal is going to be to get a result. Even if the product is one of instruction, if it's one of software, your goal, your ultimate goal is going to be one to get a result that not everyone is able to get. Maybe your goal is going to be to get a number of new leads. This is going to be something that's going to be attractive to other internet marketers. Maybe it's going to be more sales, or maybe you're already getting sales. Maybe you're going to be able to do it in less time. You're going to be more productive in what it is you do. And of course, as is the case, you don't have to worry if the method doesn't work exactly the way it was proposed in the original product. What you want to do is go through your process and work through the problems, because working through problems is actually going to be a good thing, because this is what's going to make it your method and it's going to make it a unique product. So from practice, we go to personalization or personalize. So what we're going to do now that we have a method, we have it working, we're able to get a result, we want to then start making tweaks based on our own intuition. We want to start thinking about ways that we might do the process differently. And we're going to take different methods and different paths to try to get to the goal that we have. And again, remember, what's important here is going to be our goal with that product. We're going to test different conclusions, just as you would do in a scientific method. You're going to test hypotheses. You're going to ask different questions that you don't see covered in either the manual or the tutorials. You're going to ask over and over, once you're getting a result, what if? What if you tried something different? What if you wanted a different result? What if there were different scenarios? You want to ask the kind of questions that you have that maybe were not covered or were not necessarily directed in the actual intent of the product. You then want to start developing your own resource list. So as you develop your product, you want to think about, well, what resources are you bringing to actually make it work that maybe were not included in the other product? You want to develop your own workarounds. This is vital. Again, once you're getting a result, the rest of this is going to be very academic. Probably the most important thing is to start getting a result. When you do that, you're going to start developing your own workarounds, your own shortcuts. You want to start thinking about things like designing your own software to answer your questions for your business. Maybe your business has a particular way of which you do things. You want to start thinking about, well, how can you design something that will answer your question, that will help you to accomplish your goals? Because that software is actually going to be sellable when you develop it yourself. Now, we're also going to want to have proof. So at every stage at which we're doing anything, in this process, we want to take a step and document everything that we're doing. We want to make sure whether we keep it in a journal, whether we keep it in a Google Doc, whatever we're doing, we want to make sure that every little step that we're taking, we are noting it down, because this is actually going to be the basis for our product. This is going to make for great case studies. And in some cases, a case study is sellable all by itself. It's going to make for very easy info product creation when you actually have to go back over what it is that you did. And it also helps you to know how to reproduce the results, how to teach people how they can get the same result that you did from the beginning. You want to document conditions. You want to document the time of day that you're doing, taking the steps that you're taking. You want to document the demographics. Document anything that you think of that could be a variable. It could be a vital thing that you can point out and a vital angle in your sales copy. Now, finally, in this video, we want to go over this word that we're calling plug. And basically, we're talking about creating a video testimonial for the vendor. So you were able to gain this insight because you actually got a product, you used it, and it actually worked for you. So you're going to start thinking about how you can make the vendor look good. Put it on YouTube. You want to take it then from YouTube and then share it on social media. When you do that, make sure that you're tagging the individuals that are involved. Contact them and then make them aware of how you're promoting them and their product and how it worked. Transcribe the testimonial and then make it available, whether or not it's online. So make sure that everything that this person did, that you put it out there, that you make sure it's available in all forms, that everybody can read it, and especially the vendor. And this is going to actually help you to be able to bridge the gap between an introduction and actually having someone who would be willing and open to you and promoting your product when it is ready. Okay, now we're going to go over the rest of the 7 Ps in the next video. Part 5, PLR and resale rights hijacking. But let's think realistically. Selling your PLR inside of the internet marketing community without rights is going to be difficult at best. Now, you will need to have a new market or change the PLR in order to leverage it. So how do you turn the rights product into something that someone will buy? Now, here's what was sold to you if you bought a PLR product. Typically, what you bought was the opportunity to make money online, or you bought the opportunity to learn something new. Now, if you bought the opportunity to learn something new, you're satisfied with the PLR. More than likely, you had a good sense for something that you didn't know before, and now you have your arms around it, which is great. So let's talk about what is PLR, resale rights, or whatever it is that you purchase when you get a PLR package. PLR is, for the most part, teaching leverage. So if you don't know how to teach a subject, you've got to do a workshop, you've got to do a webinar, you want to get a bird's eye view of a subject, you can get PLR, and you can do that fairly quickly. You get high quality PLR. It's product leverage. So if you don't have the ability to create your own product, or you just need a jump start, you need some assets in order to start creating a product, PLR can be a great way of being able to use some of the assets inside to either redo them or to use them as some of your components. PLR is bonus leverage. So if you don't have great bonuses to offer, typically you'll get the rights to offer what you purchased as a bonus to a paid promotion that you were doing. It's a tool leverage. So sometimes you'll get a new tool and you will be able to use that PLR as a tool. Sometimes you get software PLR. You can actually use it in your business, or you can actually give it to someone as a bonus, as is the case with all these things. Is membership leverage. So you have a membership site. You want to give those who are coming to your membership something new and something fantastic. You can add PLR to your membership in order to give them even more value than they're getting by paying their membership fee. PLR is also content leverage. So if you don't have the ability to create content on a regular basis, what you can do is you can actually use the PLR to create great content. It is demo or example leverage. So if you don't have a lot of skill in terms of doing a demo on either software or on something when it comes to maybe a particular social media site or whatever the subject of the PLR is, you can use the PLR videos as demo or example leverage on your site. This is a great way of being able to prove yourself to be an expert. Now, in short, what PLR is raw material. It aids you in how you create online income. So the question is always going to be, when you're using PLR, and if you're going to take the PLR that you have and turn it into profit, you have to figure out first who you're selling to. Who is your market? And then you want to find out what the bridge to their problem is. So in other words, you have PLR, but you want to figure out how does that PLR approach their problem and what they're seeking to solve or what they're seeking to accomplish. And so you're going to need to adapt your content. So how can you adapt your content to help you to generate leads every day with this market? How can you use your content to help you to make sales every day with this content? And so how can you do this as quickly as the content is released? In other words, how can you turn something on PLR into something that your market is going to want? Now, let's talk a little bit about your market. Now, your market is going to be composed of a couple of different segments. There are people in your market right now who are looking for a solution right now. They're looking for an answer right now. You can meet their need with your PLR if you adapt it to that situation. There are people who are aware there are solutions available, but they're not sure if they want one right now. There are people in your market who are aware they have a problem, right? And so you can adapt your PLR to them. There are people who are unconscious to their problem or solution. So again, this is another area that you can adapt the PLR to. So the question is, how can you reposition what you have to sell to one or all of these categories in your market? You have something fantastic to offer. You may have to add something to it, but you need to be able to meet these 4 sectors wherever they are so that you get the maximum profit from every piece of PLR that you purchase. So what you've got to figure out is what the shortest route is between their problem and your PLR. Whatever that gap is, you can actually adapt the PLR by adding something to it to give it the value that makes someone who's looking for a solution now want it. Someone who is aware there are solutions available, that they want it too. Someone who is aware they have a problem, to make them want it. So you want to think about it in these 4 sectors, and then you want to figure out the shortest route between their actual problem and what your PLR is. So now in the next video, we want to talk about how you're going to attract these 4 sectors into your list. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.